He was kicked out of the gym and publicly humiliated for wearing a bright red MAGA hat he wore with quiet confidence. The manager, reveling in his authority, canceled his membership, thinking the matter was settled. But little did he know, this man was the new owner of the entire fitness chain. What happened next turned everything upside down. It was a typical Tuesday morning at Iron Grip Fitness, a bustling gym known for its sleek equipment and vibrant community. The morning crowd had settled into their routines, weights clanging, treadmills humming, and chatter filling the air. The tranquility was disrupted when a man in his late 40s walked in, donning casual workout gear and a bright red MAGA hat. The man, Samuel Harrington, radiated quiet confidence. His calm demeanor stood in stark contrast to the storm brewing behind the front desk. Ryan, the gym manager, a sharp-dressed man in his late 20s with a perpetual air of superiority, noticed the hat immediately. His jaw tightened, his eyes narrowing in disdain. Samuel greeted the receptionist with a warm smile and a polite nod. "Good morning," he said, scanning his membership card. The receptionist hesitated, stealing a glance at Ryan, whose glare seemed to demand action. As Samuel made his way to the treadmill, Ryan couldn't hold back any longer. He strode across the gym floor, weaving through the crowd, his sneakers squeaking against the polished tiles. "Excuse me, sir," Ryan said, his tone clipped. "Can I have a word with you?" Samuel stepped off the treadmill, his expression neutral but curious. "Of course," he replied. "What seems to be the problem?" Ryan's lips pressed into a thin line. "We have a policy against clothing that creates a hostile environment. I'm going to have to ask you to remove the hat." Samuel blinked, clearly taken aback. "A hostile environment? It's just a hat." "It's more than just a hat," Ryan snapped. "Some of our members find it offensive. We're an inclusive space, and that's not the kind of message we want here." Samuel's calm demeanor didn't waver. "I'm here to work out, not to make a statement. I don't see how this is hurting anyone." "That's not for you to decide," Ryan said, his voice rising slightly. The commotion began to draw glances from nearby members. "Rules are rules. Either take off the hat or leave." Samuel sighed and glanced around, noticing the hushed whispers and judgmental looks. "All right," he said. "Let's sort this out at the front desk." Ryan followed him, his chest puffed up as if he'd won a battle. Little did he know the war was far from over. At the front desk, the atmosphere was tense. The receptionist, a young woman named Emily, looked visibly uncomfortable as Ryan and Samuel approached. Ryan leaned over the counter, his expression a mix of irritation and self-satisfaction. "Emily, cancel his membership," Ryan demanded, his tone leaving no room for argument. Emily's eyes widened. "Cancel it? Are you sure? He's been a member for years." "I'm very sure," Ryan snapped. "Process the refund and remove him from the system." Samuel stood silently, observing the scene with an almost amused detachment. Emily hesitated, her fingers hovering over the keyboard. I really don't think this is necessary," she stammered. Ryan's patience snapped. "Just do it." With a resigned sigh, Emily began typing. The tension in the air was palpable as she completed the transaction. She handed Samuel a printed receipt, her hands shaking slightly. Samuel took it with a polite nod. "Thank you, Emily. I'm sorry you had to deal with this." His calm voice contrasted sharply with Ryan's brashness. Ryan crossed his arms, smirking triumphantly. "There. Problem solved. You're no longer welcome here." Samuel folded the receipt and slipped it into his pocket. He looked Ryan in the eye, his gaze steady and unyielding. "Fair enough," he said, "but I'll be in touch." Ryan laughed dismissively as Samuel walked out. Little did he know the seeds of his undoing had just been sown. The gym was buzzing that afternoon as the staff gathered in the break room. Ryan basked in the attention, recounting his confrontation with Samuel to an eager audience. "I had to do it," he said.
People were uncomfortable. It's about maintaining a safe environment. Some staff nodded in agreement, while others exchanged uneasy glances. Emily, sitting quietly in the corner, couldn't shake the feeling that Ryan had overstepped. Later that evening, Ryan's phone buzzed with an email notification. The subject line read, "Important notice, ownership update." Curious, he opened it. His smirk faded as he read, "Dear team, we are pleased to announce that Iron Grip Fitness has been acquired by a new owner, effective immediately. Please extend your warmest welcome to Mr. Samuel Harrington, a longtime member and supporter of our mission. Mr. Harrington will be visiting each location over the next few weeks to meet the staff. Let's work together to ensure a smooth transition." Ryan's face turned ashen. His mind raced. "It can't be," he muttered, frantically searching the membership database. There it was, Samuel Harrington, member since 2012. Reality hit him like a freight train. The man he had publicly humiliated was now his boss. The next morning, Ryan arrived at the gym earlier than usual, his nerves frayed. He had spent the night rehearsing apologies, but no amount of preparation could ease his anxiety. At precisely 9:00 a.m., Samuel walked through the doors, accompanied by a group of corporate executives. He was dressed sharply, his presence commanding attention. The staff quickly gathered, some whispering among themselves, others pretending to be busy. Samuel greeted each employee warmly, taking time to shake hands and exchange pleasantries. When he reached Ryan, he paused, extending a hand. "Good to see you again, Ryan." Ryan's mouth went dry. He managed a weak handshake and a mumbled, "Mr. Harrington, I didn't realize." "That I owned the gym?" Samuel finished, a faint smile playing on his lips. "Understandable, but I do expect my staff to treat every member with respect, regardless of personal opinions." Ryan opened his mouth to respond, but Samuel raised a hand. "No need to explain. Your actions yesterday spoke loudly enough." Turning to the executives, Samuel continued, "We'll need to review the management structure here. Let's start with a meeting this afternoon." The other staff exchanged knowing glances as Ryan's face turned crimson. His arrogance had finally caught up with him. As Samuel walked away, he looked over his shoulder and added, "Oh, and Ryan, I suggest brushing up on company policies. You seem a bit out of step." The room erupted in whispers as Samuel continued his tour. Ryan, left standing alone, felt the weight of his actions crash down on him. Justice had been served, and Samuel Harrington had the last word.